Welcome back to IAS Net Study, and this is the 17th video in this ethics series. And in this video, we are going to have a discussion on foundational values of objectivity and empathy and compassion. Now, let's start the discussion on objectivity first, and then we are going to take up empathy and compassion. Right? What exactly the objectivity? Objectivity, somewhere it is similar to the previous we had a discussion of impartiality. Even objectivity, if you look at the definition, it sounds the same actually. It refers to the ability to judge fairly without bias, external influence. Here it also sounds the same like impartiality. Now, what is the difference between objectivity and the impartiality? Objectivity is that here judging fairly, that aspect is there. There is no bias, there is no prejudice, there is no external influence. But here you are taking a decision based on certain criteria, based on factor of objectivity. I'll give you an example, it would be easier for you to understand. See, you want to get a OBC certificate. For OBC certificate, I am a public servant now. Then I have to take personally, I know you well, I know that you belong to this particular category, and you fulfill all the criterias. But me being a public servant, there is an obligation on me that I can only issue a OBC certificate if you fulfill certain criteria. What are the criteria? Those are criteria are objective criteria. Criteria are that you need to have certain documents, that income certificate of your parents, residence certificate, caste certificate, all these things. These are the certificate you should give that. These are the rules given by government. Now, being a public servant, I have to follow these rules. So this is what objectivity is. Here also I am treating you, the factor of justice is there, the factor of equality is there. There is no partiality, I'm not doing any partiality. I'm judging in this situation fairly. I'm judging the principle of justice, that factor is there. But here I am taking a decision based on objectivity, based on certain criteria. Here, as a civil servant, especially objectivity in civil services, it means that civil services rules are established by government of India. Me being a part of this civil service, me being a part of this public service, I have to follow these rules. There should not be my subjectivity in the decision making. This is what objectivity is. I am a tahsildar, I have to give this certificate. I can only give this certificate if you fulfill all the restrictions mentioned by government regulation. So I take decision based on government regulation. So this is what objectivity is, that. So here, my personal bias, my interpretation, my feelings, my imaginations, all these things, it does not comes into the picture. Your objectivity, it is mind debate independent. It is not dependent on my emotion, it is not dependent on my understanding. No, it is mind dependent, and it is object specific. What is the object here? Object is established rules by government of India. So this is what objectivity is. Here I make decision based on facts, I make decision based on evidence, I make decision based on prescribed rules or rationality. Government has given the rules that if you get these documents, then only give the OBC certificate. I am going to follow that. I am not going to be subjective. Even though I know this person in a very close connection, I know everything about it, I know that the person belongs to this, but I still am not going to give you the OBC certificate, because you have to fulfill the request, you have to fulfill the requirements. So this is the objectivity. This is how me being objective in a civil services, right? And again, your decisions are not based on personal feelings, individual bias, preferences, emotions, external pressure, right? Now, as an example, you can give this OBC certificate. Or another thing is, you are recruiting a candidate, and here recruitment, it is based on merit. Despite, even though there might be political pressure, there might be family pressure, whatever it is, ultimately the recruitment should be based on the merit, because you are following the objective criteria. Objective criteria is that the person has to have this degree, and the passing marks should be this much of experience should be these are the objective criteria. Me being a recruiter, I have to follow this criteria. Then I am fulfilling the factor of objectivity in my conduct, right? See, subjectivity, the exact opposite is objectivity. Objectivity and subjectivity. Objectivity is that established rules are there, you have to follow this. This is objectivity. Subjectivity is different. Subjectivity is based on my individual opinion. As an example, there are five people goes to a movie, and you ask the opinion of this particular movie with these five persons. all the five individuals, they are going to give five different explanation. This is subjective. And even if you look at the preliminary examination, it is objective. Preliminary examination is objective, means examination is subjective. Objective, it is only one answer out of four, there is only one answer. But subjective, you can express your opinion, you can articulate answer in the way you want. So there's a very simple differentiation between objectivity and subjectivity. Objectivity, there is only one truth and you have to follow that. Subjectivity, it depends on your opinion, your emotions, there is a subjective factor to it. So this is with respect to objectivity and subjectivity. Even though subjectivity it is not mentioned, but you need to have idea regarding these particular terminologies. It helps in the, as I tell you again and again, understanding, deeper understanding of these kind of topics. It helps you in the examination to express your answer in a better way, right? Now, what is the significance of objectivity? One thing I told you that it is similar like impartiality. When there is an objectivity, I ensure fairness, factor of justice, if that is there. There will not be any bias, there will not be any personal preference, there will not be any prejudice, and even arbitrary means take decision randomly. So no decisions are taken randomly. Everything is based on rationality. Decisions are rational. Then it strengthens the public trust. See, people, when there is an objective behavior, people know that this is how administration work. Then people also trust the administration, people also trust the government. So it is going to strengthen the public trust, and it is going to enhance the administrative efficiency, because set of rules are there. If everybody becomes objective in nature, no subjectivity, then everything is crystal clear. There is no red tapeism, there is no bureaucratic delay, nothing is going to happen. There is no corruption, everything is picture perfect. It enhances administration efficiency. And support professionalism, because I am following the factor of objectivity here, and it is going to support the professionalism. And it reduces the corruption, nepotism, favoritism, all these things. So these are the significance outcomes of being objective in civil services, right? Then what are the threats, what are the challenges? The personal bias. I told you that in the last video also, I cleared the exam at the age of 25. Till the age of 25, I have certain subjectivity aspects. My value systems are different, and my behavior, it is quite different than organizational behavior. See, all these things are there. At the age of 25, I clear this exam, and I'm government has given the training of 6 months. Then do you think that within 6 months I can change my characteristics completely? It is impossible. There will be, my personal biases will be there, my subjectivity, individual opinion, my subjective factor will be there no matter what. This is one of the threats for objectivity in civil services. And emotional involvement, the personal bias comes in, the prejudice comes in. And then political pressure, political interference, this is also one of the factors where you compromise with the factor of objectivity. Then social pressure, one thing is political pressure, one thing is social pressure. Also social pressure also matters a lot. The populism, vote bank politics, these are all comes into picture in the administration. Then corruption and nepotism, when there is a corruption, you compromise with so many things, you become partial, you become subjective. So corruption, nepotism, favoritism, that also going to impact the factor of objectivity. Then lack of information. See, when you don't have information, when you yourself, you have to make a decision, you don't have complete information, you yourself, you are confused in that situation. In these kind of situations also objectivity suffers. And then time pressure, that also objectivity suffers. So these are certain threats or challenges to objectivity. Then fine, I told you that objective, you have to follow the rules and regulation. It sounds fine or in paper, but in reality, do you think that all the officers are completely objective in their working? No. That is one discussion. Let's keep that aside. Another discussion is that fine, I am following objectivity in every situation, fine. But do you think that in every situation this objectivity it's feasible? Answer is no. Very clearly answer is no. You cannot apply objectivity in every situation, because there are certain complex situation where objectivity is going to negatively impact the public service, negatively impact the civil services. So in certain situation it is not good to be completely objective. And usually what happens, I told you the same thing, I am an individual being, I have my opinions, I have my emotions. And usually in general humans are subjective in nature. And do you think that I am going to ignore my judgment in every situation, I am going to be complete objective? Even in reality it is impossible. That is also impossible. And one more thing is, civil servant, it means that it is quite dynamic in nature. The clearing this exam and even working environment, it needs some kind of dynamic attitude. But if there is an objectivity, if you see that 100% objectivity, it means that government has established rules and you have to follow that. See, in order to do that, you don't need an innovative, very high IQ individual. You just need a clerical, some cleric. These are clerical expectation, because government has given the rule, you follow the rule. That can be done by cleric also. Why do you need that efficient, high emotionally intelligent individual, high intelligent quotient individual? Why do you need these kind of exceptional caliber personalities for civil services? Because the factor of subjectivity, it creeps in, it comes into the picture. It is not just the clerical expectation. So these are the factors which make sure that objectivity, there is no 100% yes to the objectivity. At complex situation, 100% objectivity is not a good approach. Now, what do you do? How can it be handled? Handle is that, I'm not telling that you leave that objectivity completely, become subjective in nature. Even that is also not feasible. 100% objectivity is not feasible. 100% subjectivity, it is going to create chaos, and it is going to make the system corrupt. This is also not possible. Then how do you handle this? Your focus is being fair. Focus on fairness. Fairness, it means that it should lead to the equality, it should lead to the justice, factor of justice. So you focus on the aspect of fairness in your conduct. So this is what the objectivity in complex situation is talking about. Let me give you guys an example. MG Narega, they have introduced a new change actually. In order to get the money or the salary, there is a mandatory of biometric evaluation, that your thumb expressions are going to be evaluated, these kind of biometric evaluation. You might have read this also in the newspaper, that many a times biometric evaluation is getting failed actually. Because there is a failure in biometric evaluation, people are not getting their dues. They have worked for 10 or 15 days, but they are not getting that money in their bank account because of the failure in the biometric evaluation. See, if I am a public official here, public servant here, see, if I am 100% objective in that particular situation, what happens? I am going to ignore their request. I will say that these are the rules, I'm only going to follow the rules. But if I am subjective, if I have that factor of compassion, if I have the factor of perseverance, then I am going to find a solution to this problem. How do you, being objective, you cannot find the solution, then the subjectivity comes in. Now you make sure that your subjectivity works under the framework of fairness. Now I have to apply this fairness. If I am fair, then I should make sure that I can ask for another proof, voter ID card, Aadhaar card, something. I am going to accept this. I make sure that I verify once whether this person, this particular individual, they worked it or not, and I make that detailed verification. Then I am going to transfer this money. So here their livelihood is dependent on this money. They've worked for 10 days and they want this money. Now, if I 100% objective, I am going to outrightly reject this. But if I have this factor of fairness, I make sure that I find an alternative, and I make sure that these people get this money, because for them it is their livelihood and they have to survive. So being objective, it is very, very important. Along with that, being fair. So how do you handle this? By being fair. So this is what, because both, whether it is fairness or objectivity, it has the same goal. It is equality. So this is how you handle objectivity in complex situations, right? Now let's move to the next foundational value, and the next foundational value is compassion and empathy, and there is an extension also, compassion and empathy for the vulnerable sections, right? Let's talk about compassion and empathy. Before that, you need to understand certain terminologies. One is apathy and the sympathy. What is apathy? Apathy is the state of indifference. It means that you are you are in pain. Just imagine that you are in pain. It is not going to bother me. You are enjoying a lot, and again, that is also not going to bother me. It is none of my business. That kind of state of indifference, whether it is a concern, whether it is a pain, whether it is excitement, whether it is happiness, your happiness, your concern, your excitement, it is not going to trigger any emotional response in me. That is being apathy, right? This is state of indifference. Next comes sympathy. Sympathy, it is, you can say, it is momentary in nature. It means that it is just a lip service. Here you are in pain, What I do is I just come to you and I just give you some positive words. Some I want to, it's that situation I am giving you some positive words. Here there is no real action is involved. It is just a lip service, it is just a mouth service. I'm just giving you some momentary relief. So here it comes from instincts and it is spontaneous in nature, it is momentary in nature. Here I am not understanding your problem. I know that you are in pain. Now I come there and I just give you like two, three sentences that get well soon, or I can understand your situation, but in reality I am not understanding what they are going through. So this is sympathy. Now the next terminologies are empathy and compassion. You know that apathy and sympathy. Now empathy is that you are in pain, but if I am empathetic, then I understand what exactly you are going through. I can understand your pain. In sympathy I don't understand, my words I am expressing through my words, but real understanding is not there. But in empathy I understand what you are going through. Here I am putting myself in other man's place to understand his pain and sorrow. So here being empathetic, it involves deeper relationship than being sympathetic. Being sympathetic is just a lip service, I'm just telling some positive words. But empathy, I understand what pain are you going through. That is empathy. And then comes compassion. Compassion is extended version of empathy. Empathy, I understood what pain you are going through. In compassion is that I am taking some positive steps to help you out. I know that you are in trouble and I make sure that how can I ease, how can I eliminate this trouble. So compassion, it involves not only understanding but also desire to help. I want to help you out because you are in trouble. I want to ease that trouble, so I want to help you out. So I want to alleviate suffering of other person. Here there is a wanting of help. So this is the difference between empathy and compassion. Now let's see the difference in detail. In empathy, understanding of other emotions, I understand your pain. But in compassion, what happens, I take some positive steps also to reduce your suffering. And you remember this cab model: cognitive, affective, behavior. So empathy deals with cognitive and affective component of attitude. Here I understand your pain, even I can feel that emotionally. But compassion deals with behavioral response. How do I respond to it? I want to take some positive action, the positive behavioral response and the moral response. And empathy, it is neutral perception. I understand this, but I cannot do anything. But here ethical commitment, that I will do something for you. Here I understand your pain. Here I will help relieve your pain. So in the public service, in civil services, we require both compassion and empathy. Because empathy, I am a civil servant. If I have to take a decision, first and foremost thing is I need to understand what you're going through. You have come to my office expecting that there is no hospital in your village, or you don't have a water connection, you don't have basic facilities. If I am not empathetic, I don't even understand what exactly you're going through. So empathy is a basic, one of the foundational values of civil services, to understand what citizens are going through. Next, compassion is that once I understand, I act accordingly. Now I understood there is no hospital, then in order to help you out, I have to have this compassion. When I have this compassion, I find a solution for your problem. Right? So empathy and compassion. Again, this compassion, it involves four steps. What are the four steps? First is awareness of suffering. In order to take action, first and foremost is awareness of suffering. What you're going through, I understand that. That is awareness of suffering. Then emotionally moved by suffering. Not only I understood, I also somewhere I am connected to it. So when I am connected to it, this is going to trigger that initiative to take something, to do something. Now I want to do something. Now I thought of wanted to do something. Now I am responding. I am taking that step. Now response. So these are the four steps of compassion. Examples again for every foundational values you have to give that example. Here there is an example of APJ Abdul Kalam. Actually, he went to some IIM, and there he got to know that one of the students there, it was very difficult to for him to fund the study. So he expressed that with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and finally Abdul Kalam, he arranged the loan and financial commitment to continue the studies in the IIM. So this is like a compassion. He understood that what other person is going through, and because he had also faced all these things during his student life, so the step he has taken, that is nothing but the compassionate step. And then there is another example of Baba Amte. Baba Amte, he encountered one person who is under the last stage of leprosy, and he was crawling on the road, and nobody was ready to help him out. But he saw that, and that again the factor of empathy, and then eventually turned into compassion. That he carried that particular person to the hospital, and later he decided that he's going to dedicate his life to serving the people, especially leprosy people, and also established one of the institution called Anandavan, so to serve the people who are infected or affected by leprosy. So these are some of two examples. You can add more examples also from your real life or what you have seen around you. All these things from your personal life and from the eminent personalities, right? Then why is it important? I told you that. See, empathy and compassion. I am in trouble. Sometimes what happens, even these kind of empathy and compassion, even it may be that may not be the very big help. Even the small help, small empathetic gestures. This is going to give me the greater confidence. This confidence helps me to get rid of these problems. It gives that confidence to fight back what I am going through. So it helps me to fight whatever the situation I am in. It gives that confidence. It is the positive attribute. And the second thing is, see, it can be applied at the personal life, it can be applied at the civil service perspective also, right? And then there is kind of disconnect between bureaucracy and the people. The main reason is bureaucracy is not empathetic. Bureaucracy is 100% objective, and there is no factor of empathy is there. When there is no factor of empathy, you are making policies or you are implementing policies without understanding the ground reality. When this happens, there is a complete disconnect happens between bureaucracy and the people. Now there is a social media, I can raise my voice, but imagine the situation before 10 15 years. How was it? Everything was decided in an AC room, and they just randomly they used to uh, uh, force these on the people. These things used to happen. When you don't have this factor of empathy, you are disconnected with the people, and your policies are disconnected with the people. You don't know what people want. So from intellectuals are giving you some advice, and you're just following. This is what happened. This is what used to happen before. Around the world, this is what used to happen. And then, see, the armchair bureaucrat, this is what I'm telling you. You are taking a decision sitting in the AC room, and you're not connected. What exactly the ground reality is, you're not connected. So this is what happen if you're not empathetic, if the civil servants don't have the factor of compassion. So these are the core values actually, empathetic and compassion, for the upliftment of the weaker section, for the encouragement of the vulnerable sections of the society, in our society. So value of empathy is extremely important. And even for that, from the Indian philosophical perspective also, the society, the usually understanding is there, society is a tree, then compassion is the root. So for dharma in ethical framework, society is a tree, compassion, it means the stronger the root, the society enhances, society grow very stronger. So this is what but this is showing the importance of empathy from a social phenomenon. The same thing you can say, tell it from a civil service perspective also. Right, now how do you develop, how do you inculcate it? Field visit. When you do the field visit, if you look at the probationary period, if you of the civil servant, they do Bharat Darshan, and all the intention behind that is to develop, to understand the ground realities, to develop that empathy and compassion. So field visit, then listening actively in public grievances and forums. Again, when you listen, you understand what other person is going through. So listening actively, and reflective practices, some practices that thinking about how decision affect others, that also the post decision analysis also very much important. Emotional intelligence, when you are emotionally intelligent, then you understand what other person is going through, what emotional upheavals the other person is experiencing. Emotional intelligence and exposure to diversity, that tribal areas, slum, hospital, shelters, especially we are, this is how to develop from a civil service perspective. So in order to develop this empathy and compassion for a civil servant, these are the steps we can take. The diverse exposure, mindfulness and stress management. The internal control also matters a lot. The external, yes, it matters, but if you're not strong enough, or if you don't have these attribute internally, it is not going to reflect in your external behavior. So internal also, mindfulness, stress management also matters a lot. Then community engagement during a public making, because when community is engaged, you will get to know what they need, what really they aspire, or else it is just armchair bureaucracy. Then mentorship also, if you have empathetic seniors, compassionate seniors, you inculcate same values in you also. How your mentor, ethical leadership, they value system they follow, that is going to impact you also. So these are the ways to develop. Again, significance, threats, you know that the exercise. So this is it for this video. The rest of there are around 10 or 12 extra foundation values are there. In the next video, what I do is I take all of them, because if I get into the detailed explanation of all of this, it is going to take a lot of time. And even if you look at them from examination perspective also, those values, the detailed explanation, it is not necessary also. And moreover, it is on the same lines also. If you know how to write answer for these foundational value, you can replicate the same thing for others also. In one video we can finish it off the third unit, aptitude, and also around 10 to 12 foundational values, we'll finish that also. Perseverance, spirit of service, all these things we can finish it off. The fortitude, fearlessness, all these things. I'll see you guys in the next video. And once we are done, we are going to take up the emotional intelligence, the fourth unit. And thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.